This program is brought to you by Bodine's Towing and Body Shop. For 24-hour towing, call 970-375-7924.
It was called the War to End All Wars. Today we call it World War I, and to mark the 100th anniversary of America's entry into the Great War, the La Plata County Historical Society has documented the war's impact on the region with an exhibit at the Animas Museum. The war had raged in Europe for 3 years before Congress declared war against Germany on April 6, 1917, and La Plata County was quick to rally support for the war effort. More than 800 men in the region signed up for the draft, with 700 eventually leaving the only home they had ever known to fight in the war.
The send-off that our community did for the soldiers that were leaving for camp, wherever that might be on the railroad. I mean, stores closed, every person practically in the county showed up a number of times to be able to send them off on the railroad. You think about those men, they probably had not been out of La Plata County, and whether they stayed in the States or they went overseas and ended up in Belgium or France, they were in a world that they had never imagined they would be in.
Back home, women joined the Red Cross, families grew gardens and rationed food, and the Durango Democrat published letters from the front. The war also brought intercontinental travel to the world, and with it, a worldwide flu epidemic that would eventually kill more than 500,000 in the United States. While health records show that Durango suffered more than 150 deaths from the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918, more than half of Silverton's population of 2,000 residents contracted the virus. So many died in San Juan County that survivors had to dig 2 mass graves to bury the dead. Then, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, 1 year and 7 months after America entered the Great War, Germany signed an armistice agreement with the Allies. And the region's boys returned home. More than 600 of the region's 700 draftees made it back to San Juan Basin.
And 2 men that did not come home, their last names were Trujillo and Sheets, which might sound familiar because that is who the American Legion named their post for.
The day that Germany surrendered is commemorated now as Veterans Day, a day to honor all men and women who have served in the armed forces. Durango historian Robert McDaniel will present a lecture on the legacy of Jose Trujillo and Wiley Sheets at 1 p.m. on Saturday, November 11th at the museum. And Fort Lewis College history professor Andrew Gulliford will present a lecture on the Great War's impact on the region at 1 p.m. on Saturday, September 30th. For more information about the lectures and exhibit, visit animasmuseum.org.